All right, so the first half hour didn't record, but we'll go through it. In WAP, all the recordings will be under the courses on the section. WAP keeps changing their UI, but under the courses in the top left, it'll be recordings or video library, and they will all be there. I don't know if L-theanine is in green matcha. I don't have green matcha, but I do take L-theanine. Let's see. All right, we'll do a quick rundown. We'll speed run this on what I just missed or what I talked about in chat, but the stream recording didn't pick up. So mainly talking about, if we go back to here, let me pull this out, go to our daily. Main thing we're talking about is gold. So I was wrong on oil RB, which you can be seen by when we had the close. I just wanted us to trade higher initially. We opened, made a low, traded higher, right? So that's where your daily profile comes in to say, hey, your idea is either wrong, trade the invalidation the other way, or whatnot. 1 second, gotta adjust my laptop screen. There we are. Now, as with silver and gold, right, we do get that move higher, which is great. We'll go take a look. We have a candle 2 closure, which is what I was talking about. With a candle 2 closure, where do we want to see respect? 0.5 of this previous range, right? We go down to the hour. Do we have that confirmation of the swing? We do, as we have a change in the state of delivery there. For my indicator on there to save time, I want to see the upper half of this previous candle respect to form this wick here. We form the wick, and then we start to trade away, right? And this aligns with the open of the new 4-hour candle, right? We have a range, right? Range here. We sweep the high of the range, we go to the low of the range, we sweep the low of the range, we trade to the high of the range. This one is in line with our higher time frame bias, which allows for it to actually expand, right? Now, as for ES, we can go over that example. Whoa, what is that? You guys see that on my screen? I don't know what that was. Anyways, that was ES, can talk about it, but pretty much a consolidation here. What I was talking about on the daily is I didn't really have much of a bias yesterday, right? If you asked me in chat, you saw that because we closed back inside the previous range, but we also have a pretty bearish candle here, right? So there's not a great lower time frame reversal, right? If we have a reversal, right, we want to see open, low, high close forming a reversal candle, right? Just a larger wick. This is a bearish candle that closes back inside. So really not a lot for me there. I'm going to go ahead and then just see how CPI releases, right? How does CPI release? Click here. We open, we sweep out all these highs, and we don't close over, right? We close back inside the range. Let's say that is not enough for you to know. We can go ahead and take a look at the next candle, and we close through there, right? So that's our ideal candle 3 formation to look for candle 4 lower. What also aligns with candle 4, that's the new open of the 4-hour candle. And then we can look at the 5-minute chart. Now, what I covered earlier on the 5-minute chart here is, let me rewind, is when we are looking at our T-spot, right? That's where we want this higher time frame wick to form. However, what do we look for in this area? We look for points of interest. So the first thing we're going to look for is a fair value gap or a high. Do we have a fair value gap? No. Do we have a high? No. What about this high? Well, you may notice that high is quite a bit over my T-spot, right? I don't want to see it trade to that high, because then what would it do? It would form too large of a wick here to have expansion, right? So then I can look towards my order block, right, which would be this series of up close candles to form that. Or if there's no point of interest, I can just use the logic of I want to see a small wick form here to trade lower. We open, we take a high, close below, respected, and then we trade lower, right? And once again, with a large manipulation like this, I can look towards the -1 as a potential target, right? So as we let this play out, we hit the -1, that is a good target for me. Now, let's go back to a different example, going over the same thing, where we go to NQ at the same time. What do we notice about, am I on the 5-minute? What was that example that I went through that had the larger wick? Oh, that was the 3-minute. Let's go here. So once again, what I was talking about is I'm not saying that price can't trade above the T-spot and reverse, right? Because you see it happens here. But what does it do? It makes a larger wick, which means we've used more range and more time that we aren't expanding, right? So a lot of times when that happens, the expansion occurs on the next candle, right? So we trade a little bit higher. Doesn't mean it's invalidated. It just means waiting for the intra-candle change in the state of delivery. At this point, we don't really have much time left to expand. When does that expansion occur? At the open of the next candle, right? And then gold, we already go over it or not. Gold, we have the 5-minute, right? This was the start. That aligns with it. We gotta click on this. Have the 5-minute closure. That is paired with the hourly candle. So once we get that, right, I wouldn't want to see this disrespected, right? I could just get on side with this. My stop on this low somewhere in here, or 2R, right? Gonna kind of speed run in this because I don't want to waste people's time as we have already kind of gone over this. And did I miss anything important in that? Because I just want to make sure that's in the stream recording as it didn't get recorded last time. That any important parts that I covered that maybe I didn't get in the second part? Otherwise, I'll get back to questions. Let's see. Can you go over this entry instead of waiting for consecutive? Let's see. Oh, that person took that entry? Yeah, I mean, it's still valid, right? All it is they're missing one thing. So the only time you would do this is when you have a pretty strong confirmation, right? So let's go over it. We have the 4-hour range low taken. We're looking to trade to those range highs, right? So with that, we have a 4-hour candle. I'm expecting the lower half of this to respect, right? As well as the lower half of that, right? And I'm wanting to see a low in there. We see at the start of this candle, we reach into a fair value gap and then close over here, right? So I could anticipate this low to hold, right? Generally speaking. Now, the one thing we notice is within the fractal model, we haven't had our confirmation to even look for it yet, right? So it's a little more discretionary in the fact that taking an entry like this prior to the change in the state of delivery occurring, right? So that's what that person did, is they understand the logic. They say, okay, I see the aggressive move down, the aggressive move back up. I'm trusting that this is a higher time frame wick that's going to hold. I found an invalidation. I'm fine trading it, even though we haven't closed over this because I'm anticipating that. Or if you want to be patient, you can just wait for it to close over. Okay, it closes over. Now I'll take a buy. Where would my stop need to be? At least below there. Right, where's my 2R? Well, it's about right there, right? There we go, right? So there's lots of different ways you can go about it. The main thing is you're getting the logic of aligning these higher time frame expansion candles. Sorry, I just had like a little aneurysm or something. Let's see. Let me get back to Discord. The SMT. Yo, what's up, Tristo? You took the entry there on ES. Nice. Yeah, that's a solid trade. You have a good stop loss placement there. That's what I can say. A lot of people would get stopped out of that. But you put it at a protected low. If price disrespects your invalidation level on the daily, do you trade the opposite direction or you don't trade at all? That's very situation specific. If I have, it's hard because sometimes it's invalidated. I'm like, okay, I just am not interested. And other times like, oh, it's invalidated and I see previous day low right here. Like a good example of that maybe could be Tuesday, yes. Really? Yeah, like this, right? This is an example of like something you could trade. And I went over this in, actually went over this live in Fractal chat if you want to go check it out. Like the whole time. Like I said, okay, if we're gonna form a low and stay in respect to this bullish setup, right? Because we opened, traded off this low, traded higher. So I was thinking we can get a continuation higher through this high, right? I was saying we need to respect this area because that's 50% of the order block to trade higher. So just taking a look on the lower time frame, right? We have this. Well, we have a nice closure through these down close candles. So I could see if this is going to hold to trade higher. What do we notice about that? I want to see 0.5 of that be respected. Is it being respected? Currently, do we get any displacement out of it? No, this is a little news, sweep, and we're trading through here. So now I'm viewing this as, okay, if this bullish setup is going to fail, where are we likely to trade to? Previous day low, right? So then that allows you to, okay, if I know my bullish setup's going to fail, I can look to get on side in the other direction, which would then be doing something like this, right? That way. So it's very situational, because there's sometimes where it just fails and I'm like, okay, I'm not interested. Other times it's like, okay, if it's going to fail, I know it's going to go right here, right? Or that's what I'm anticipating. Then I can look to get on side with that. It's not an every time thing where it says, okay, if it fails every time, I'm going to take it. Like, I just can't answer it like that. Let's see. The SMT on the 11-minute, 30-minute candles were great. And then you caught the reversal. Yeah, that's perfect. Well done. Yeah, I'm not going back to the 15-second. That was yesterday's shenanigans. Big O caught another one. Oh, you caught it. Nice, you took that exact trade. Talking about. I just ran through your courses. I'm kind of want to make a confirmation model, or confirmation based off your model. So fractal model basically based on swing points, right? Yes, it is based on swing points in a point of interest. Yeah, that is correct. Is NQ worth looking for longs right now? I am not interested in trading right now, and I do not do callouts. I'm not really interested in price because the only way I would be interested in is this is going to trade lower. I would have just wanted it to trade lower, right? I'm not really interested in sweeping, coming back into the range, then trying to trade lower, right? But I am, unless we have SMT with NQ, the previous day low, which we do not, we just have these equal lows. I'm personally still fairly bearish on that. But this is kind of what I talked about earlier, where my whole bias on ES and NQ is still bearish. But when we just continue to make failure swings, right? Right here we have a swing we can trade off of. Right here we have a swing we can trade off of. Failure swing, failure swing, failure swing, failure swing, failure swing. We had all these failure swings. It's just hard for me to short off of something, right? So if we now make a swing high here, that makes me a lot more comfortable to continue shorting, right? I'm not trying to personally just catch lows, right? Like I imagine there's everyone trying to catch lows, right? In a bearish market, and everyone trying to catch highs in a bullish market. We're dropping like this. I'm not really interested in trying to say, hey, I think this is going to be the low of the year. This is going to be the low of the year. This is going to be the low of the year. It's like, have fun catching all of those. I'll just let a low form. And then once we start to trade that way, cool, then I'll buy. You know, that's how I view trading. Hence my whole model of not trying to catch reversals. So I'm still bearish. But yeah, I'm not really interested in trading right now. The main thing is we have a large wick, right? Let's just pull up this one, throw up the daily candle there. We have a large wick, right? And we already traded back to the daily open, right? So it's just, if this is a reversal day, we've already hit our first targets, our session lows, and our daily open. Not really interested in it, right? I'm just going to let it close and say, oh, if it closes like it is right here or lower, cool, right? If I miss a move from here down to these lows, that's fine with me, right? I will miss those moves because I don't trade after the morning session. I just don't. So that's something I accept, that after my session, I don't care what happens. Price will and has gone, like, I mean, we're not on NQ right now. They could go 1,000 points, and I don't really care because it's like, okay, how would I have actually traded that? People will look at it and be like, oh, I missed this move. And it's like, well, did your model appear when you normally trade your model? No, then you didn't miss anything, right? MMXM. Is there anywhere you can spot MMXM? MMXM, my model does MMXM without you having to think about it, so I wouldn't really focus on it, but my whole model is this, right? So you notice we have a candle 2 in here, something like this, something like that. Okay, this is the low risk buy. I let that form. Oh, remember how we wait for that intra candle change in the state of delivery in this next candle? Cool, you're trading the first leg of accumulation or distribution or whatever you want to call it. Oh, this continuation that's following, right, in candle 4, that's your silver bullet. It's just I do it in a way that you don't have to know that. Don't try to make things complex. The whole point is refine stuff down. Don't make it complex. I don't use the left side like that. For me, especially like right now, I'm not going to go all the way over here and be like, I'm going to use this, right, as a zone to sell. Like that doesn't help me. That's why I removed it from my model. I used to use mitigation blocks. But how is this going to impact or change me from taking a trade or not taking a trade? It doesn't, right? It just adds more stuff onto my screen. So I never do anything like that. I don't need it. My model is, yeah, it's about trading the first or the second leg. I don't trade the reversal, right? I'm always trading that continuation. Could you see the link for the video you mentioned yesterday when I asked about Tesla? What video was I talking about? Could you remind me? Yeah, I'm not a big fan of buy now, average down later, but if that's how you invest, that's great. I am not a financial advisor, so I don't talk about that. I just manage my own money. Did I go over, let's see. Is there a video going over your TradingView layout? I have one, but really all I do is I'm on my laptop right now. I have my PC, but my mic's weird. This is my side screen in which I just have silver. This should be, I don't know why it's doing that. Should be silver, gold, right? And I have my oil, gas here, YMRTY. Right, so the main things I watch. I normally have a extra screen on the side or a tab for currencies. I want to check those out, and then I just have a main screen in which daily indices, I'm just watching ESNQ. However, when I am live streaming or teaching, these get a bit mixed up because I'm just like kind of running around. Let's see. And then all I do is I just set these indicator templates, right? I have specific ones for each one. Monthly profile. I mean, the only thing I was talking about yesterday with Tesla, let's go to something like this. All I was talking about with Tesla is it's just that I like to frame stocks on a monthly chart because I'm not day trading them, right? So I don't really care where I enter throughout the day. Like I'm just going to enter on that daily candle. And all I was talking about is the last time I annotated Tesla was this. And I just asked, did you guys see my model, right? We sweep out a low. Do we have a candle 2 closure? Yeah, cool. I can look to get on side with that. Or, okay, there we have closure through that. So I expect this low to hold. We have a fair value gap with a candle 2 closure. Cool, right? And you see we trade to the failure swings. So like all I'm talking about is like I'm using my same model to analyze price. I'm just using it on a different time frame. There's no video on it. I don't have a video saying, hey, this is how I trade stocks or this is how I invest. Right? It's the same thing with AMD if we go back to 2020. It's whenever I graduated or before that. Yeah. This area. Right? And the whole thing is like this is what I meant with like this. We're dropping here, right? There's lots of people that just buy. Because, yeah, stocks in the long run, if you read the book, it's like over a long period of time, like stocks go up. So it's like no matter where you buy at some point, right, they should go higher over a period of time. That's like the whole foundation of that book. But for me, in my analysis, I don't really care to buy all this, right? I'm just going to let a low form and then buy over here because I can buy at the same areas, but instead, I'm not eating drawdown, which I don't really like drawdown, so I prefer to do it that way. YM left me so badly. Yeah, that's a bit tough. Let me see. Go back into Discord here. Have you used the 3-minute to trade gold? Yeah, 3-minute and 5-minute for entries. Same model on every single asset, basically. I didn't go over YM though. Can't remember which stream I went over my trade view layup, but hopefully that's a basic. It changes sometimes. Like sometimes I'll just change up my layout. Can you please do top down? That's kind of what we've been doing here, right? Like I just went over ES, which is once again random thing, but we made a bit of a large wick here. When does this expand? Let's do something cool. Ready? Start of the new month. When does price start expanding? Right there. Start dropping lower. Anyways, we go to the daily, right? More so about having a bias or a framework. I don't really have much today, right? Other than we had this fair value gap, or you can just mark out previous day high. Right? We go down to the hour or the 4-hour. We have a nice reversal candle off of that high, right? The hourly is an ideal formation. And then from here, I could either go take a look at the 30 or just go to the 5. You take a look at the 5, going top down. You know you want to be entering after this dark one, which means the new 4-hour open, new hour open. Here's the T-spot. We open, trade higher, intra-candle change in the state of delivery. I can get on side with a closure, stop on the high. Where's 2R? Right there. Pretty easy 2R. Or like I said, you can hold to that -1 target. 3R. That's an example of talk down. The foundation course is not mine. That is AM's model. So if you want to, that's his expansion course. Oh, you mean I'm talking about my foundation course on YouTube. Yeah, all that means is if you don't know what liquidity is or a fair value gap or an order block, that's what my YouTube playlist called The Foundation does, is it just teaches people that. So this is how I would like to put it is my YouTube can help you out if you're struggling with individual concepts, but everything you need is here. Like you don't really need to watch my YouTube, right? Like there's gonna be a lot of stuff on there I don't use, right? I don't use breaker blocks. I don't use OTE. I don't use certain things, right? They're still on there because people want questions and ask for them. And I'm like, okay, here's how you use it if you're going to use it. But I don't use them. Let's see. The CISD on the monthly time frame must be on the daily time frame. The early sign of the I don't really know what you mean there. Other than I think you're going back to the little Tesla example. Right, the whole thing is, okay, I have a candle 2 closure here. Let's go to the daily and throw up my indicator. Gonna look for the series of down close candles. I don't know how it works on stocks. If it works well or not. Oh yeah, it works out. You know, in this case, that is the down close candles. I'd probably use this. Okay, now I want to see the upper half or this area respect it. Bit choppy and different, right? But I would then consider that closure. So it's like, okay, how's that look? That's a pretty decent. Get up, right? Or maybe, I don't know, right? Generally, if I'm I'm not going to really talk about stocks, but it's the same model. It's just on stocks, it's a bit differently because of how they gap and close. Right? Well, on the daily time frame, we want to have a hourly CSD. Yeah. I guess I'm a bit confused on what you're trying to. It's all fractal, right? So if I have a monthly swing, I'm looking for the daily. If I have a daily swing, I'm looking for the hourly. Yeah, it's just all the time frame alignment. Let's see. Not trading this, just an example, but how would you frame a trade off a valid candle to closure for a C3 continuation when there is little opposing candles? I gotta check out what photo you sent. Micro E-mini. I don't know if you mean what is NQ. I mean, I wouldn't be trying to short this really. Because at least not, like we'd need a new 4-hour candle. We've already made a wick, open high. We came back up. That's either we trade a little higher or we just hang around this open. But were you meaning this? Like if that closes back inside, how would I frame this? I mean, not great, but normally it's like if we trade this higher, it would need to respect 0.5 of this. Trades a bit above it, not that ideal. Like it'd be very, just not the ideal structure that I look for, right? Like this, like sure. But what I look for is some sort of trend higher and then a nice aggressive reversal structure like that. This model is all about MMXM, but second phase. Well, it's just about trading a continuation. It's not that deep. Like a lot of my model is from the strat, just candle closures. It's like I would say stop trying to frame everything from an ICT perspective where you try to know everything because you never know everything. But yeah, it's going to be very similar to trading market maker models first or second leg. Let's see. And does opposing candles have to be in the C3 in order? Brian, I'm a little confused on your question. Candle to close. I mean, so the whole thing is like, let's say this closes down here, right? And you're saying that you wanted to short this, right? I don't need necessarily a new CISD. I just want to see a wick form because I don't expect this high to get taken if we close below here, right? That's the whole thought process. Am I saying that? Not really, because I don't really know what's going on here, right? But there's the technically model that is formed. That's why it just printed on the indicator. And then once again, the T-spot is right there. For the question that says, what is the T-spot? Well, I'm just going to take from the open of the new candle to the EQ of the previous. That's what I'm looking for. And then I can also take the 0.5 of the CISD. Now, since those don't overlap, I'm going to take the lower one. If they were to overlap, like let's say it looked like that, then I would just say, okay, like that. Right? That makes sense. So that's how you get the T-spot. That's why it appears like that. I was looking for longs today, seeing how NQ closed prior to New York Open. What do you look for? Confirming your initial direction in addition to the highest OB being violated. I thought it was retracing lower, not a real reversal. I mean, I would look at higher time frame candle closures, right? So for instance, yeah, I can agree with you being bullish in here, right? If you go take a look at my analysis last night, I was saying, hey, bullish in here, right? Because of the structure here. But what do we notice is if we're bullish in here, where's our target? Previous day high, right? We're over previous day high. Why? I don't really want a long in here unless I get a new swing to form to trade off of, right? I want to see on the hourly 30, mainly the hourly, do we have a new swing that forms in here? No, there's no bullish closures after we get a bearish in here, right? Even looking at this, right? Okay, do we have any bullish closures? I'm not considering this a bullish closure personally, right? When do we get our first real bullish closure? Here. Okay, 30-minute and 3-minute. Go to our 3. Okay, there's the T-spot. Once again, let's mark out the T-spot, and why is it here? Well, just using 0.5 of the previous candle, right there. So that's the lower end. Why is it not using this whole level here? Well, because it's marking out the last candle, right? When in reality, this is where it becomes a little bit discretionary. Not really discretionary, but I'm ignoring this candle. I would actually be using this, right? But it gives it basically the exact same level, right? And then you just look for a low to form, and then it trades higher, right? Would I trust any lows in here? No. So if I enter in here, where do I need to have my stop? Below that area that I expect to hold, right? Your dentist sold. I don't know, he did a good job on my teeth, to be fair. On SMT with DXY, yeah, we can go over that really quick. And then let's see. Go here. And I can't spell euro. So, you understand math, or just any basic math, we know that what? Euro, USD. We know that euro, right? Euro USD is just euro on the numerator, USD on the denominator, right? So if we have USD itself, right, how do those correlate? Well, denominator, this one, it's the numerator because it's just over 1, which means they're opposite. So by looking at that, we are going to look for SMT between the two, right? They should be having opposite structure. So right here, when we make a low, right, we should also make a high, right? If we make a lower or a higher low, then we should be making a lower high, right? Where you get an SMT between them, let me see if I can find one for you real quick, is something like this, right? Here we are, we make a high. In the same case with euro, we should be making a low. We make a low, right? Cool. Okay, now we make a higher high, in which case we should be making a lower low. But what do we make? We make a higher low. So in this case, that is an SMT between the dollar and euro, right? So that's how it works. I mean, you're trying to really trade after an expansion and consolidation. That's why if we go back to this, the whole reason I'm not very interested in this is because we just had a whipsaw move and then we're in the middle of the range. If I had a choice, that's like I said, I'm guessing that we would go lower, right? Which we kind of are. But it's not something that I'd ever put risk on because I just can't justify something like that. And it's out of my session. But like these are the moves you want to be in. Like you want to be in trending price action. Stop seeing trending price action and then trying to get in, because that's when you're gonna get in consolidation. Weren't you just talking about yesterday about getting off the PC in your session, but you're lingering around right now? So I would say, are you gonna listen to yourself yesterday saying that you're gonna stop lingering around, or are you gonna? I don't know. That's your choice. I'm just calling you out a little. Okay, so bullish closure is a candle 2 or candle 3 closure on the higher time frame. Yeah, or just a closure outside the range or over the high. Just got your first payout. That's sick. Congrats. Any psychology sauce? Yeah, we'll end with the psychology sauce. Most of the psychological problems people have at the beginning of their trading and for a while is because they don't lack a model and don't trust a model, right? Everyone always is saying, oh, I need to build good psychology. Let me go read the Zen Trader. Let me go read the Mental Game of Trading. Let me go watch Mark Douglas. And while those things are great, you don't have a model. How are you going to build a good psychology when you can't even trust your analysis or your model? Like you don't even know what you're doing in the charts, right? So people will try to work on their psychology, but how can you run before you can walk, right? So the whole thing is once you have a defined model and you manage and how you manage that model, how you risk, all of that, right? Then you can start to work on your psychology, right? And that's why I always say, if you're not profitable yet, why are you trying to manage runners, move your stops, do all this, right? Just focus on taking 2R because then you're not, it's already hard enough to execute, right? When you have to execute and then manage your position on top of that, it just adds more things that you can mess up, right? It's trading is mostly about making less mistakes, right? So if you're adding more things, you can make more mistakes. So if you remove that, what does that do? It makes trading easier, right? So then after you get that all down, then you can look to, oh, now I'm going to manage my runners and maximize my profit, right? But I would say until you have a good model that you can define and trust, which is the whole point of my course, right? And probably why you're here, why you're trying to work on psychology, right? Work on that first, then focus on psychology. And the whole thing of psychology is like, when are you going to stop doing dumb shit? Right? Like, it's not that you don't know what you're doing is wrong, you just do it anyways, right? It's not when you take a losing trade and you're like, oh, I know I shouldn't be raising my lot size and going to revenge trade right now, but you do it anyways, right? So really, it just comes down to, okay, when are you sick of doing dumb shit that's hurting you, right? Like, you know better, but when are you absolutely sick of it to the point that you're going to stop, right? And then psychologically wise, it's like, okay, if I follow my plan, if I feel my emotions but don't act on them, I'll be fine. But yeah, that's my little rant on psychology. And that's why, like, you'll see, like, ask Garrett how many psychology books or anything he's read. Probably zero, right? It's just because he back tested as a model down so well that he doesn't question when he enters it, right? He doesn't care if he loses because he's seen it enough times to know over the long term it works. So he's just going to take those trades, right? And he's not going to, feel fear and be like, oh, I'm going to close it now. It's like, no, he's just going to take his trades and let it rip, right? So yeah, well, I think we'll probably end with that because I think that's a good little lesson. There might be people that don't agree with me, but I genuinely don't really care. And that's my opinion. So it's like this. Like, how many books have you guys read and it still didn't change anything in your trading? Like, at the end of the day, you have to have a model you trust and then just stop doing dumb shit. Like, that's really what trading comes down to. Hey, I have a model I trust. I'm going to trade this. Oh my gosh, I feel like I want to revenge trade now. I want to tilt. Don't do it. Wow, you just saved yourself. Great psychology. It's like, no, you just made an active decision not to self sabotage yourself. So, yeah. And so, like, there's a lot of people in here. It's like, not, I won't say a lot, but it's like I've seen a lot of people, I've helped a lot of people that it's not that you can't trade. It's not that you can't analyze. It's not that you can't do any of that. It's just you self-sabotage, you just blow your shit up. Like you'll have a week of good trading, and then you take one trade instead of being like, okay, I lost one trade. There goes, you know, half a winner, right? Like that's how I view it. It's like if I take a loser, it's like, oh, there goes half a winner, right? But instead you're like, I can't be red. I can't finish this day red. I like this is the worst thing ever. And then you blow up, and then you go into this little trance where you're like, you don't know what happened, and then you finish and you're like blown up, and you're like, what did I just do? Well, if you just recognize those feelings right before you do it and just say, I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm done trading. There you go. You probably will be profitable once you remove that. There's a big difference between blow up mistakes and mistakes. You can make a lot of mistakes in trading and still make money. But if you make a blow up mistake, you're not going to make money. So, yeah, just get the mindset books and put them on the shelf, and then you just think about them. It'll fix your psychology right up. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream there. Sorry for those watching that missed the first part. I think I speed run it enough to get the main points in there. So I'll upload that now.